So with the COVID pandemic in full swing, this is our theme for the fall. Everything is different, but nothing's really changed. Broadway is dark until sometime in 2021. Our Alexander series, Serapis, is dark for the year. Our performance halls are dark and our galleries are going virtual, but our main task remains the same, to provide a top quality education for our students. When the fall semester began, we were hoping for something like normalcy, but after 2 weeks of face-to-face instruction, we shifted most classes online. As you can imagine, for a college that has a lot of hands-on and one-on-one instruction, this presents a number of challenges. So those courses in the college that are primarily lecture-based have gone to distance learning. Now, I should tell you that many of these were already planned to be held online before the semester began. Large courses especially were moved online to make room for social distancing. But some faculty for whom it made sense had already opted to begin the semester with their courses online. Once ECU pivoted to all online instruction for undergraduates, we did allow for our art students to have access to the studios and our dancers to meet live in small groups. In the School of Music, lessons are a mix of online and face-to-face, and ensembles are meeting in a hybrid mode where a few students may be on campus in person, forming a core group while others are participating virtually. In order to make all of this work, we've had to resort to a little bit of creativity. Seo Io, who I think is on tonight, I thought I saw him coming in, he developed an inexpensive and excellent rig to help faculty shoot instructional videos from their homes using their cell phones. And Dr. Pam Hopkins in the School of Communication has created instructional videos covering such topics as projecting your voice in a lecture hall while wearing a mask, and how to most effectively participate in online job interviews for our students. As you're all very well aware, our college is one of the most outwardly facing units in the university. You're accustomed to interacting with our faculty and students through concerts, plays, musicals, and gallery exhibitions. Clearly, this has had to change. While we simply had to shut down in March, we've taken the summer to strategize regarding the best ways to continue to meet the goals of our public outreach mission. We've upgraded some of our capture and streaming capabilities in order to better accomplish this goal in our new circumstance. Theater and dance productions will be virtual, and they are planning some exciting radio-style shows that will best fit our new format and also help to broaden our students' experience. Music ensembles will have to be virtual and will either be live streamed or recorded for later posting. Four Seasons is planning to present a full season of streamed concerts, and Opera Theater has even commissioned a virtual opera to take full advantage by creating a new work based on our limiting circumstances. Art and Design's galleries are virtual. The undergraduate juried exhibition will be hosted virtually, and graduating seniors will have the opportunity to exhibit online for their fall senior exhibitions. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Melissa Adamson. She's our CFAC Advancement Liaison, and we're happy to have her with us here this evening. She's going to facilitate our question and answer session. So I'm going to start my video and stop sharing my screen and turn this over to Melissa.
Thank you, Dean Buddo. I really appreciate it. Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa Adamson. I am an advancement officer with East Carolina University. I work for the ECU Foundation. I'm also lucky enough to liaison with the College of Fine Art and Communication. I'm also a graduate of the communication program in '02, so it's near and dear to my heart. So just a little bit about what I do. I cover Eastern North Carolina as well as the West Coast. Looking to build relationships and partnerships with people who are interested in helping Dean Buddo advance his vision and mission for the college, as well as connecting with people who are interested in volunteering, perhaps giving at whatever level they're comfortable with, or even making transformational gifts to accomplish kind of the big dreams. And so I have several colleagues that I work with that cover the remainder of the state of North Carolina, as well as other states across the US. So we work together to find those people out there, friends and alumni, who are interested in making a difference. You can submit your questions in the chat below at the bottom of the screen. We will throw up a poll at some point throughout the program just to kind of break up the Q&A and kind of the monotony of me talking over and Dean Buddo talking over and over again. So be prepared for that. Without further ado, we can jump into the very first question from Sam in DC, who is curious about how the pandemic has impacted student internships.
So Sam, internships have been affected in a variety of ways. We have a number of them in the School of Communication, but we also have student interns that are teacher trainers who are doing their internships in the various school districts around, mostly around Eastern North Carolina. Those have been handled in various ways depending on how those school districts are operating, but frankly, a lot of those have gone virtual. In the School of Communication, the internships really vary depending on the partner we're working with. We've got some internships that have continued. Each of those goes through a process where the director sort of vets the internship, and I do the same thing. And as long as we feel it's reasonably safe, those internships continue. But I will tell you that a lot of our regular partners have just simply ceased doing internships because they've gone virtual themselves. So the answer is it's really varied. We do them where we can.
Thanks. I think that's pretty common across the university in terms of just blending where we can and giving people the in-person opportunities where it makes sense and when it's safe. Okay, so I guess we'll go ahead and do the poll right now. It should be up on your screen. Feel free to take a moment to scroll through these questions and answer them with what you think is the correct answer, or being honest in some of the silly ones. While you guys are doing that, Dean Buddo, Ryan from New York wants to know if there is a plan to renovate Mcginnis Theater, or are there plans for a new venue?
So I'll start with Mcginnis. Mcginnis has actually, there is not a plan to renovate Mcginnis as a one-shot deal, but I can tell you that in the last 5 years, I'd say Mcginnis has undergone a number of changes. We've upgraded the lighting grid probably 4 or 5 years ago, and then this past summer we did the entire electrical system was upgraded. Michael Schoaf, I know, has done some moving of the sound, the booth, the light and sound booth, and also we're doing some backstage renovations to have a handicapped accessible restroom and dressing room at the stage level. So there are some, it's not a single renovation, but it's undergoing sort of ongoing upgrades in Mcginnis. As for another venue, our hope is that we will be building a performing arts center soon. Many of you are aware that we did a fundraiser to create the funds to fund a plan, a conceptual plan. That work is underway. In fact, I have a meeting next week to see some of the latest drawings. We've been working on that for over a year. Again, these are just conceptual drawings, but they're going to help us with the most important part of the Performing Arts Center, which is the fundraising part. Obviously we're going to need to partner, I think, with the city to make this happen for Greenville. We're going to need to find some lead donors. But even if you can't be a lead donor, we're going to need everybody that can help in any way. We're going to look forward to that. So I'm hoping as we get, you're all aware that we've had some changes in leadership over the last few years, and so that has held us up just a bit, but I'm hoping we're going to be on track and get that underway very soon.
Great, thank you. That would be so exciting for Greenville as well as for ECU in Eastern North Carolina. And so would love to help. If there's someone out there who shares that dream, let us know. All right, so the next question is from Anne, who is in Greenville, and she's interested in knowing how the faculty are coping with being able to motivate students with the pass-fail option over the semester.
So that's a really great question, and we've had some discussions about that. I know that I saw that we have some faculty on here, so they may have some thoughts on their own, but I'll tell you what I've been hearing. You may or may not know that in March, when we pivoted to online, we went to a pass-fail system for the undergraduates, and when we pivoted several weeks ago this fall, we did the same thing. There's some concern that if you've created a course in which a student has earned a certain number of points, they get their passing grade and they can sort of disappear. So I think several different faculty are using different strategies to keep the students engaged. If it's a project-based course, they're saying you've got to participate in every project so they can stay engaged. But it is a bit of a struggle, and I can tell you that we've got a lot of faculty, myself included, who have never taught online before March, and so we're learning how to do that. The university has a lot of really great support, a lot of great strategies, and I've leaned very heavily on that. I know a lot of our faculty have. And so we're doing the best we can. I know that our faculty are doing really incredible work, and I'm really proud of them. For those that are on here, I want to thank them for the great work they're doing. I know it's been really, really difficult, but they've done a fantastic job. So thanks for that question, Anne.
I know they are working so hard and have done such a great job at being innovative. It's such a strange time right now, but yes, definitely kudos out to them for all of that and being so adaptive. It's really remarkable and incredible what they've been able to accomplish. Moving on to the next question, Ryan, who is in our audience today, is interested in knowing if there are plans or intentions to create a memorial scholarship for Hal Binkley. If not, are there other ways to honor his legacy and contributions to the School of Theater and Dance?
So this happened just recently, so we have not had really an opportunity to talk about that, but certainly it's on our radar. Kendra and Melissa and I are meeting actually on Friday, and so we'll talk about that. But I think that's a lovely idea, and I know that recently I was up, well, it's been a while now, but I was up in New York with the alumni group, and Hal was there with us, and we had a great time. And I know that there are alumni all over the country, all over the world, that think the world of Hal, and I think that's a great idea, and we certainly will talk about doing that.
Right. It is a common way to honor someone's memory and create a legacy for the work that they've done. So it doesn't surprise me that we got that question. He is amazing. The next question is from the audience. Jean is interested in knowing what's happening with the Oregon students.
So the Oregon students are, as you know, most of the lessons happen in St. Paul's, and the university has allowed us to have music instruction and dance face-to-face. If the students are willing and the faculty are willing, it's a two-way street. I have a studio of 5 students, and 3 of them are face-to-face, 2 of them are at a distance. I have not talked to Andrew recently, Jean, but I suspect that they're doing their lessons face-to-face, because I don't know that many students have an organ in their home. Although if they've had to leave, I suspect they could, go to their local church and take their lesson from there. That's a great question. I've just assumed that Andrew's been meeting with them, but I'll follow up on that to see how he's doing. I'm sure some of them are meeting in St. Paul's, but there may be some that had to go home.
Okay.
I will add this: if they've gone home, this is how we do the lessons. This is how I do my base lessons through Teams or through Zoom. We set up our computer and we have some nice microphones so we can get a decent sound. My students, they have pretty big instruments, but they're not as big as organs, so they can get around with them. So it's possible for them to do it from their bedroom. And I do it from here in my living room.
Great, thank you. Okay, so the next question is, what areas within the college are growing the fastest?
So I think I hit on that a little bit. We've been really surprised by the growth in the graduate program in communication. I don't know if everybody being locked up in their homes since March has made everybody decide they want to get a master's in health communication, but that program has basically doubled in size. And as I mentioned, we're going to bring on another program, which I expect to be online in the fall, a year from now. And we anticipate that will be, if we're face-to-face, that will be a face-to-face program. The master's in health communication is primarily online. There are things that students can do on campus, but you can do that entire degree online. And so that is sort of ready-made for this situation, and students have taken advantage of that. So that's certainly the fastest growing. After that, I would say our dance program has showed some pretty healthy growth too. So we're excited about that.
All right, great. Good to hear that communication is growing the way that it is.
That's right. That's your area.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so up next, let me see here. We've had a lot of questions about how folks can help with the Performing Arts Center, the new Performing Arts Center that you're envisioning, and how they can support the college since people won't really be able to attend events in person. So can you tell us what are the most pressing funding needs and how people can remain engaged and connected?
Sure. So the Performing Arts Center, as we talked about, is a large, huge project, and we certainly will be reaching out and hoping that our friends are going to want to support that. In the meantime, we're still, even though we've gone online for the most part, we're still in need of scholarships to recruit top quality students. The process continues. Even this early in the semester, we've already begun the process of identifying the students we want to see come here next year. And so having that kind of scholarship support remains critically important to all of our schools. I would also, so that's really for recruiting. But we also have been in great need for study abroad scholarships. We shut down this summer. We shut down our study abroad program, but it will come back. I'm confident, and students have been more and more interested in opportunities. We've got a number of partnerships in Poland and in the United Arab Emirates, and Christine, who I saw on here, has got a program going to Taiwan. And the biggest hurdle to students participating in those study abroad programs has been financial. And so anything we can do in terms of scholarships can really be meaningful to those students. And some of those experiences, my wife and I, early in my time as dean, went to the Italy intensive program in Certaldo and met with students there. And it's just life-changing for those students to be going. Students who have never left Eastern North Carolina to be in Europe or to be in the Middle East or in the Far East. It's really a life-changing experience. So that kind of support is really needed to help those students participate in those programs. And finally, I would say this fall is going to be really interesting for us. And those of you who are watching this, I think you're tuned into the arts. And so this is happening all over the industry. Live performance is really not happening right now. And so when we stream concerts, or we present virtual exhibitions, or we do some of those radio shows for the School of Theater and Dance, I hope that you will participate. I hope you will join us as an audience member so you can stay engaged and see the great work that's still going on in our college. And the really most important thing you can do is, when we're back, when Serapis cranks up, when Four Seasons is back in person, we need you to be in your seat, ready to go. So I can't wait till that happens.
Me too, me too. I just wanted to take a moment to thank everyone who submitted your poll answers. We appreciate that. Please keep chatting in your questions. We're going to get to as many of them as possible. So we have a question. What has been your favorite productions at ECU and why?
Oh, that is not a fair question. Who's asking that question? That is not fair.
Anonymous.
It's like, who is my favorite child?
Yes.
So I'll tell you one that sticks in my memory. I'll give you a couple examples, but one that sticks in my memory is, this was many years ago when I was director of the School of Music. B. Chauncey, who was a long-time faculty member in the School of Music, had made a significant pledge in her will to support the school. And in honor of that pledge, we put on a concert for B. And as part of that concert, we played Aaron Copland's Appalachian Spring in the original version with I think 13 instrumentalists. And if Christine is still on, she played in that too. And that, I have to say, is one of my favorite. I played in that, so it's one of my favorite musical memories. And then I'll give you one from the School of Theater and Dance, and it was from my first year as dean. It was, I couldn't go to cabaret because I was going to a conference. And so I asked John if I could sit in on the dress rehearsal, and of course he was very generous, and he said that I could do that. And he sat with me and talked me through the production, and it was really a revelatory experience for me to sort of engage in that dress rehearsal through the eyes of a theater director. And that's a memory that I really cherish, and that holds a special place in my heart. And then I will say, from the School of Art and Design, we just recently did, we did an art auction this spring, and the collection was actually the collection of Ben, help me with Ben's last name. Ben, oh, why am I blanking on that? It'll come to me. But he donated his art collection. He and Randy Umberger, Benjamin Keaton and Randy Umberger, they gave us their art collection, and it was a massive art collection. And so we had an art auction this spring. Kate and her crew arranged all of that, and it was really very well done. It was a fun evening. I bought more art than I should have. Particularly, there's a triptych that has been living in my office since Ben donated that collection to us. It's a triptych by See, I knew I should have written these names down. It's a triptych that was done by Bob Rankin, who is also an ECU alum, and so I've had that in in the dean's office, but it was part of the auction, and so I bought it. So after I leave the dean's office, it's coming to my house. So those are some fun memories, but no favorite children.
Got it. Got it. We hear you loud and clear. Thank you for that. Okay, so there is a follow-up question regarding to virtual events, and people are curious about when you feel like the first one will occur.
That's a good question. And if there's a theater and dance event they're already scheduled, I should have had that in my hands. I don't have that in my hands. We'll have to get that information to you. That's coming. And I know Four Seasons also has their events already scheduled. I apologize. That's something I should have had at the tip of my tongue, and I don't have that right handy. But I know that theater has already has some virtual events scheduled. They sent out a whole flyer about when they're going to happen, and I know Four Seasons is going to unveil their season shortly. And probably they would not want me to share that because they're going to have a big unveiling. So that one I wouldn't share. But theater and dance has got some things planned, and music we're working on a pivot now because most of our plans were based on the fact that the students would be face to face. So we're having to sort of regroup there in music, and that's still being. I have a meeting actually tomorrow to talk about that. So that is coming, but I don't have that right now for you.
Great, thank you. And just for the good of the group, we are going to be sending out links after this. So anything that Dean Buddo wants to make sure we include in there, we can make sure we get that in there. We don't expect you to have all the answers today, but we can certainly follow up with the information that you want to make sure that we get out there. All right, so next question is an audience question. Crystal is interested in knowing, with the loss of the events over the last 6 months, what has been the impact on the budget? And in addition to the study abroad programs that you referenced, what programs are in jeopardy?
So we have a certain advantage in the college in that our productions are not we're not like a private theater where we have a lot of overhead, where Serapis, for example, if we were running that out of a private theater, we would have a staff that wasn't paid by the university, we would have overhead. And so the loss of revenue from lost ticket sales has honestly not been as significant as you would expect. When we don't have shows for Serapis, for example, then we don't have expenses. We did have one show, we had Georgia on My Mind, was scheduled to happen the week we shut down. And so that was close enough. We actually had to pay for that. And so that was a loss. But the other events have been either postponed, we've put them off. The tours themselves have been postponed. So there's not been contractual issues that way either. So in terms of revenue from ticket sales, without those expenses, we haven't lost much revenue. We tend to not be a profit center. We tend to sort of make what we spend. So when we don't spend, it's okay if we don't make. So that's less of an issue. In terms of study abroad programs, if I understand the question is what programs might be in jeopardy, they're really all frozen at the moment. The university has frozen all travel, and the Italy program, they had to come back in the spring and they did not go this fall. Our hope is that those things will restart when we get past COVID. The news from Europe has been less promising in the last few days. I hear that things are cranking back up, second wave in some places. It's hard to know how long it will be, but I don't feel that these programs will be permanently lost. I think they'll come back when we're able to travel. Did that get at the root of that question, you think?
I think so. And if not, please feel free to chat it in. And if there's, something that you want clarification on, and we can get to that in a few minutes. Okay, so we'll go on to the next question. This is another one from the audience. What production would you like to see come to ECU stage when we're able to have live performances again? And what productions are you most looking forward to?
Oh, okay. That's a fair question. What would I like to see on stage? So are we talking Serapis, like what we would bring in as a guest? I'm a classical music fan. I'm a bass player. I'm partial to Edgar Meyer. I'd love to see him on our stage. Um, uh, I would just put that one out there. What was the second part of that question?
What productions are you most looking forward to?
Well, I really have been fascinated by this notion of radio drama, and so I'm really excited to see how that's going to play out in the School of Theater and Dance. I think
the radio drama at ECU in the School of Theater and Dance is trying this like radio shows,
Oh.
So Sandy's excited for those.
Oh, someone's not on mute. Okay, got it.
Somebody's not. So I'm excited to see where that's going to go. I think it's an important pedagogical opportunity to challenge our students in a way it's different from some of the normal productions we do if we weren't shut down. So I'm really excited to see how that's going to operate. I'm also Four Seasons has got some really exciting things planned with doing some recordings from people's homes that they're going to engineer together. I'm excited to see how that's going to happen, and I will just give you a preview. We're gonna in a little bit we're going to give you a little taste of that. And while we're talking about those things, I want to say that you would be amazed at how much engineering is required to make a simple what seems like a simple video. When you're trying to coordinate artists over this medium, there's always latency issues with the internet, so how we can actually play or perform together in a way that seems seamless is a little bit tricky. We've got a really great person in Alex Davis who's been working on this, and he's the one that engineered the Hammer Singers video. And we got some CARES Act funding through the university to upgrade our, I mentioned this in the presentation, we got some CARES Act funding to upgrade our streaming and capture capabilities that help deal with those latency issues. So I'm really looking forward to how well we're going to be able to navigate this new situation. So again, I'm not picking favorite children. Asking me this question, but I'm not going to do it.
They tried to do it to you again, didn't they, Dean Buddo? Okay, so we have a follow-up question regarding programming. So the programs, they're not in jeopardy from being temporarily closed, but is there an impact on scholarships for students without these activities?
So no, if a student is with us on scholarship, that those scholarships are not impacted. We're not pulling scholarships from students because they've had to go home or participate virtually. We just that's the scholarships support their education, and so we're not going to do that to the students. I will tell you that when we went virtual in the fall or in the spring, there were some students that thought about whether they would come back, and they asked if they can keep their scholarships when they come. They would wait out the semester to see how it went. And so we've also allowed them to do that, to put off their scholarships if they sat out this semester. We're not encouraging them to sit out, but we are honoring our scholarship obligation to students.
That's great to hear. Okay, another question. Communication are so important right now, especially right now. What new trends are you seeing in careers for these graduates, or what careers do you foresee becoming more needed in light of a post-pandemic world?
That is really to try to predict how this might change the world. I don't feel like I'm well enough informed to do that. But I will say I have some concerns about. I'm a performing artist, so that's where I'm coming from in this. I have some concerns about what's going to happen with live performance. It's definitely we're in a different situation, and that's partly why I want to encourage you to come back when we come back, because we want to make sure that we're able to continue to do this. As far as communication and careers, I think the very kinds of things we're doing are going to become more and more. We're learning that people are working from home, so there's all kinds of things that I think we can't even envision yet. So I'm not sure I have a really great answer to that question. I think there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there that are thinking about how they can make the best of this. I heard one story. I think Jamie Host told me this story about some entrepreneurs who have rented a hotel in Hawaii, and you can go and get tested and quarantined for 14 days, and then you can go and stay in that hotel as long as you like and party as much as you want with people who are COVID free. So there are some entrepreneurial opportunities. I don't know if that's a communication or performing arts opportunity, but those are the kinds of things that happen when we have such dramatic changes. People can come up with new ways to do fun and different things.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and start wrapping up. I just wanted to let everybody know that if we didn't get to your question, again, you'll be receiving information from us. Please feel free to send it to us. We'd be happy to answer it offline. Or if something bubbles up after this, this Zoom communication presentation, feel free to reach out to us as well. Thank you all so much for being here. Dean Buddo does have something that he wants to share with you. I'll also be following up with you as well, so expect to hear from the both of us. And we look forward to continuing conversations, and hope that you heard the message loud and clear tonight that ECU needs your engagement and volunteerism more than ever. And so we look forward to making that happen for College of Fine Arts and Communication and Dean Buddo and all of the hardworking faculty and staff. So Dean Buddo, having said all that, I will turn it over to you to add any closing remarks and take us home.
All right. Well, thank you, Melissa. And thanks everybody for being here tonight. It's fun to interact. It's not quite as interactive when I'm just looking at your pictures, but I appreciate the questions. And we certainly will follow up on those that we didn't have good answers for in terms of timing and whatnot. We'll get those answers out to you. But I thought I would leave you with a video of the ECU Chamber Singers singing the Alma Mater. I think some of you probably have seen this before. We sent it out earlier in the summer. They put this video together this spring as part of our virtual commencement ceremony after everything had gotten shut down. Special thanks for this video go to James Franklin, who is the director of the Chamber Singers, and he put this opportunity together. And also I mentioned Alex Davis, who's our engineer, who pieced it all together in such a seamless fashion. We're really proud of this video. And it gives you, and part of the reason I wanted to share it is it gives you a little glimpse into how this kind of thing can be done virtually. I will tell you, this is sort of a first generation experience. The equipment we have now has taken us, Alex tells me, beyond this experience. So I think it's pretty good, but he tells me that we can do better. And so some of the things that you'll see throughout the fall will be examples of that. So I think you're going to get a thank you from me when this is over, and I think we'll include the link to this. So I hope you enjoy it, and we're going to end tonight with the video. And I think when the video's over, then the town hall will be over. So thanks everybody for coming. Be safe, and I really hope to see you live really soon.